Jada is back at it here to give everyone another Walking Dead Season 9 episode reaction video. But before I get into that, it's extremely important, especially for this episode, if you're not caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching The Walking Dead, that you take the initiative and pay attention to this episode title, which of course I'll put in the description for you. If that's the case and you find out that you're not caught up, I strongly suggest, and so does everybody else, that you don't watch this video any further until you're caught up to avoid any potential spoilers. This is going to be The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode number 5. The title of this episode is called What Comes After. This will be my reaction review recap of the episode, which I've seen many times, probably at least 10 times, doing a reaction to it because I want it on my channel. And also I'm doing a reaction to it due to the fact that they announced that The Walking Dead Season 11 is going to be the final season of the main Walking Dead show. Rick does manage to pry himself off the rebar he had been impaled on after being thrown off by his random spooked horse, but is bleeding profusely. He makes it back to the horse, barely holding on to consciousness, to lead the Merge Walker hordes away from the construction site. Now, getting enough of a lead, he actually finds an abandoned cabin nearby to create some makeshift bandages for himself before leading the herds onwards. Now, throughout this, Rick actually falls in and out of consciousness and has lucid dreams with previous characters as he's trying to find his family. He starts off with a new conversation that he has with Shane, which Rick says, "I'm looking for my family." And then Shane says, "Well, one could argue you're looking for my family. How is my baby girl, by the way?" Hilarious stuff. And he says that he sees some of him in Rick when he bit that motherfucker's ear off from season 4 with the Claimer guy. Was that I don't remember his name now. I'm drawing a blank on the Claimer guy's name. Jeff? I think that's the actor's name. But anyway, he says that's something that Shane would do. And that. So Rick has that conversation. Then Shane all of a sudden says, "Wake up!" And Rick's, hallucinating it and almost getting eaten by a walker. And then in a sad moment, Rick actually has a conversation with Herschel at the farm. Zero facial hair Herschel. And the actor who played Herschel, Scott Wilson, had died the day of the season premiere of season 9. So it was even more touching that that actor and one of a lot of people's favorite characters, Herschel, is in this episode, and he's dead in real life and, of course, on the show. And he's talking to Rick about how strong his daughter is and like all these things that happened to Maggie. Glenn's death, Beth's death only make her stronger, and having that baby, Herschel, is going to make her even more stronger. And Rick just says he's sorry. They hug, and it was a very touching moment. And then lastly, Rick's at the hospital, and he sees that thing that says "Don't open," but it says "Open inside" or something like that this time. And he opens the door, and this is straight out of the Walking Dead comic book. There's a shitload of bodies laying. I think it's a lot of our cast members and previous cast members who were there. They all appear to be dead. And as Rick turns around, it's actually Sasha starts talking to him, which I prefer or would have preferred that to be Glenn. But I guess Stephen Yeun doesn't want to come back to The Walking Dead, even in a flashback hallucination scene. He just wants to be done with it, I guess. So that was very touching. To see those three characters. I mean, I really like Shane was underappreciated when he was on the show. Like the more the show goes on, the more like Shane was an awesome character. And in my opinion, Shane was the main character in most of season 1 and 2. I mean, Rick had his moments, but Shane also had very important things. And I think Shane is the better actor, or John Bernthal was a better actor at that point on The Walking Dead than Andrew Lincoln. Just my opinion. But nonetheless, he has those conversations with them. And Sasha reminds him that all that he has done has been for the good of all. And Sasha tells him that he will find his family as they are not lost. And then, of course, we have other things going on in this episode. Anne is trying to make her way to a planned drop point and told by the man on the other side of the walkie-talkie that she had misled them before. She assures them she has an A, but they needs to get out of this place, or she needs to get out of this place. Now, Maggie continues on to Alexandria. Michonne hears of this and intercepts her before she reaches the cage where Negan is being kept. Maggie is able to convince Michonne to hand over the keys, telling her that she will be able to live with this decision. Negan taunts Maggie over his enjoyment of killing Glenn, but Maggie remains steadfast. Negan soon starts begging for her to kill him. Thinking that it's another trick by Negan, Maggie actually pulls Negan out of the cell onto the light, waiting to see his face as she kills him, seeing that he has become weak and a desperate man who begs to be killed to be with his wife Lucille. And Maggie puts him back in the cell, with walking out satisfied with a better understanding of why Rick kept Negan alive. Then they hear word of trouble outside, and they race to see what is happening with the other residents. So they're hearing something about walkers at the campsite and walkers approaching the bridge to Hilltop. I believe that's what they're hearing. And then, of course, we have Rick. He wakes up from his last lucid dream with Sasha to find himself at the now abandoned camp, with the horse having fled. With walkers closing in on him, Rick keeps on leading them towards the bridge. He stumbles just short of the bridge, but as the walkers near him, Michonne leads a large group of our survivors to dispatch the walkers. And then Michonne urges Rick to keep on fighting, and Rick comes to realize that Michonne is now his family. He realizes that this is just another vision or hallucination, and he finds himself alone just off the bridge with the horde still coming and following him. He gets back up and continues to lead the walkers across the bridge as the river waters rise. To Rick's dismay, the weight of the walkers is not sufficient enough to cause the bridge to fall. And then all of a sudden, as Rick is about to get bit by one of the walkers, the walker gets shot with an arrow, and it's our surviving group, a big group of them, like, Daryl, Maggie, Michonne, Carol, Eugene, a whole bunch of people show up, and this is not a hallucination, it's them trying to save Rick. And they begin killing off walkers near Rick. Now Maggie worries that if the walkers cross, they will continue on to the hilltop, and leads a group to try to turn the horde around. But Rick waves them off, muttering to himself that he found his family. And as this had happened, Rick sees some dynamite left on the bridge and fires at it. That destroys the bridge. Most of the walker horde and the remaining horde continue on and falling into water. And then to everybody else, they believe Rick has appeared to be blown up and lost in the explosion. And several break out into tears and grief at his loss. Like Daryl gets sad. Michonne is just distraught over this. And then they go to a commercial break eventually after we see Daryl pout for a little while. And we see Anne sees the smoke from the explosion and chatter over the walkie-talkie about Rick's action while a helicopter lands nearby. And then all of a sudden, Anne sees Rick on the bank of the river, still alive. How the hell is Rick alive? He should have been dead in that explosion. She tells the pilot that she has a B. Doesn't have an A. I didn't have an A before, but I have a B. I'm just trying to save a friend. And convinces the helicopter to rescue Rick. And then she and Rick are airlifted away to a place that we don't even know yet. And then you see Rick wake up in the helicopter, and Ann/Jadis tells him that he's going to be okay. And then they start to play the song that ended the first episode of The Walking Dead. I don't recall what it is, but the song where Rick's in the tank, and then they do that wide shot. And that's the same thing that plays when the helicopter goes flying off. So Rick is alive, and he's leaving the show. That's kind of a cop-out in my opinion, but it is what it is. But then we get this huge reveal after that. It looks like, it doesn't look like. There's a big time skip. 5, 6, 7 years. Apparently it's 6 years, where a small group of survivors called Magna, Connie, Kelly, Humiko, and Luke are trying to hold off a walker horde when a few are shot from a forest nearby, and the group is told by somebody that sounds like a young age to take cover, and they find out that they have been rescued by a now small little girl with a katana sword, a pistol, and a hat. It is an older version of Judith. That is crazy, because she's like, you got names? And she's like, Magna, Connie, Kelly, Humiko, Luke. And what's your name? Judith Grimes. And it's like this crazy moment in The Walking Dead. I didn't see that coming. They misled us a lot with The Walking Dead. With we thought Carl was going to be that character, and then we thought, okay, Henry's going to take over Carl's role. It always made me wonder, like, so if Henry's going to take on Carl's role, does that mean that Henry's going to come to Alexandria to talk to Negan? Or is Negan going to stay in some kind of place at the hilltop locked up? Or not the hilltop, the kingdom locked up. But it turns out it's going to be Judith kind of taking over most of the role from Carl as Chandler Riggs left the show. Crazy moment. I mean, this was an awesome episode. The final episode of Rick Grimes as it stands right now, I think it was pretty memorable. I like the fact that they had Shane in the episode. I like the fact that they had Herschel in the episode. While Sasha's not one of my favorite characters, it was good to see her. We hadn't seen her since the season 7 finale, so it's been a season and a half without seeing Sasha, just about. My only problem with the episode is Jadis/Ann rescuing Rick and them flying off in a helicopter together. I think they either kill Rick or he stays alive, but he doesn't just fly away somewhere and, like, you don't know where he is. Like, I think that's kind of a cop-out. But despite all that minor flaw with the episode, this was an awesome episode. It's a 10 out of 10. It's one of my favorite episodes, although it's more towards number 10, but not, like, number 1, 2, or 3. I'd have to re-rank the Walking Dead episodes. It might be, like, number 6, number 5, somewhere around there. I like it, but I don't think it's the best episode of The Walking Dead. Still, to me, that's No Way Out and Too Far Gone, No Sanctuary, Killer Within, no particular order again. So you've heard what and of course the character of the episode is Rick Grimes. Who else would it be? I don't know if I said that already. So you've heard what I have to say. Now it's your turn. So if you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you like Rick Grimes' character and you like this episode, what comes after from season 9, go ahead and smash that like button. If you are a huge fan of Rick and you think this was an excellent send-off for Rick Grimes' character, for now at least, go ahead and smash that like button. If you know anybody that would be interested in this video, go ahead and share it with them. Don't forget to leave me a comment with your thoughts on this episode, how you would rank it, what's next for Rick Grimes. Obviously, we know that there's going to be some Rick Grimes movies. I don't know what they're going to be titled. They might be titled The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes, who knows. But there was going to be 3. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's what's next for Rick. And I feel like the whole Walking Dead story will end with the final Rick Grimes movie, my opinion. And of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.